over the years, we have seen for media and entertainment companies being impacted in this universe of now telecom providers who are moving in and trying to see media and entertainment as an opportunity. We see companies like YouTube that now are competing for the viewership of media and entertainment firms. We see now Facebook, think of the digital natives. They are spending more time on Facebook than they are watching TV. When you think of digital media and how that has transformed this industry, some see it as a threat and some see it as an opportunity. A huge phenomenon, and I'm sure for all of your companies, the question has always been raised, what do you do with social media? How can you actually leverage the power of social media?
We get to play at the intersection of both the marketers and the publishers, so we see lots of different business models, but I think ultimately the ones that are going to thrive in this new world are those that embrace the hybrid model. I think the legacy models of a pure subscription-based model or a pure ad revenue-based models are in essence legacy systems, and I don't think that's sufficient enough to build successful business models that will scale over time. So those that embrace the hybrid, those that figure out how to use both, those that figure out how to monetize their data, not just their content, are ultimately the ones that are going to succeed.
What we're noticing is, thanks to the attention scarcity, the only way you can get to a premium in terms of revenue is to be able to help your customers very quickly find the 2 or 3 key pieces of information and content, rather than let them lose on a Google search where they end up getting over 1 billion hits, but they don't know what to do, which one to read. So our value is being generated by focusing our customers' attention in what not to read, and really helping them understand what are the 2 to 3 things you must consume from a content and data standpoint if you were to make decisions that will matter for your organization.
But what about for the rest of the consumers out there? How do they actually find where your content is? Or how can you engage them to still continue and get that premium content? It's this whole challenge about e-discovery. So how do you actually address that? Nitish?
We firmly believe that if a person wants particular content, he's going to find it. Whether it's going to be via Google search, whether it's on your website or so on, and he's going to discover it somewhere or the other, maybe even on user-generated content. That's very, very clear in our minds. When it comes to premium content, considering as a broadcaster, again, we are one of those companies that's trying to bridge this gap between old school and new media. We don't think that the future is if you build a Sony content portal and have a subscription service on that, because there's no reason why a consumer and let's say a few 100 million viewers are going to come onto my portal and stay sticky and stay $10 a month or £10 a month. So that's where we're coming from. In terms of distribution of premium content, it has to be controlled, there has to be some kind of a subscription service, some kind of premium that you derive, and it's probably going to be via a partnership route with a content aggregator with a subscription service involved.
Okay. Colin, do you have any thoughts on how consumers should be able to find premium content, especially with all the channels that you own?
Well, so a basic principle is if you make a living as a business by charging people for content, they should be able to find it. And if you think in BSkyB's instance, when it started 22 years ago in the UK, you had 4 channels of TV. Today on the platform, there's over 600. And I think what we're finding is that people pay us a lot of money, almost £6 billion a year, to watch premium content. But what we do know is that they are consuming that content less and less. And what we also know is it's because mainly they can't find it. Because I think we're seeing we're pushing the boundaries of grid-based EPGs. So people really can't be bothered to go beyond the second page. And in one level, that's fantastic. At another level, it's really worrying from a medium to long-term trend. Because if you don't value something, you stop using it. And I think you only value it if you can use it, you can access it, and you can enjoy it.
Do you view user-generated content as a threat, or do you see it as an opportunity?
As a marketer, I certainly see it as an opportunity. I think in many ways it can enhance the brand and add a certain level of cachet, because what's more powerful than actually having a consumer raise their hand and create an emotional connection and actually go out of their way to interact with your brand? And in most cases, the interaction's actually quite positive. And we spend a lot of time with marketers and C-titles and executives to try to get them to embrace this from the get-go, versus what we've seen over the past 4 or 5 years is many companies have a very visceral negative reaction, and they lead with legal paper rather than embracing the actual opportunity.
You know, we've seen more and more ways of how media and entertainment firms are using cloud, but I'd like to get your perspectives on it.
Yeah,
Pankaj.
yeah. I think cloud has a big potential. As a technology, it provides a huge momentum to this push of content universally across the user groups. And not only for the production live content, but also for your R&D. You know, R&D, if you shift on the cloud, it gives you a huge benefit in terms of resources and in terms of utilization of those resources to do quick testings, etc.
We recently polled a large segment of our membership to get their reaction to cloud, especially those in the digital media segment. And I think there is still a lot of caution about privacy related issues and security. So we're noticing companies hesitant to get onto cloud-based solutions because they're still waiting to see what would be the assurances that they can get. What's interesting though, the mid-size companies seem to be more open to cloud, I guess purely from an infrastructure capital investment standpoint, whereas the largest of organizations are still willing to kind of hold on and see how security issues are dealt with first.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that the easier it is, the more you're going to consume. And if the content is compelling, exclusive perhaps, people are going to pay for it. But I think we are actively involved in spending serious amounts of time and money in trying to figure out what price to charge people, but more importantly, how to give them access to the paid content easily.
And I think payment mechanisms are a barrier, but I think they differ based on the country or the markets that we're talking about. Interestingly, in India, I think it's not necessarily just the mechanism itself that's a barrier. I think it's also the consumer mindset. Even within my extended family, I'm aware of people who are still hesitant to use a plastic credit card in a retail outlet because they're worried somebody will take it and misuse it. It's not just mechanism itself. I think it's also mindset that's a barrier in certain markets.
Great, thank you very much.